Want to know how people will react to your death? Do you want to know how they'll act afterwards, if they'll move on, if they'll make TikTok pages about your death and use it to victimize themselves and to somehow monetize it and sell books to people? Then just don't date this chick. Her name is Lisa Mia. Chin up, sunshine. Keep your chin up. Keep your chin. Like, I hate that saying so much. Keep your chin. Jade, man. Keep your chin up. What's that going to do? It says, changing lives through empathy and poetry. My book, Juliet Lives, is complete. Like, we've just been fucking waiting for it. All of her less than 10,000 followers. That's a lot of likes for that little of followers. Dude, this is TikTok. TikTok is the most safe space app there is on the internet. So, just to give you an idea of what this chick's all about, I'm going to play a little bit of this video for you.
My husband was murdered in one of the most gruesome homicides in Florida. My husband was brutally murdered in one of Florida's most gruesome homicides, answering questions.
I actually like to pay for the person behind me. Today is National Day of Remembrance for homicide victims, and my husband was brutally killed. So
I did a little bit of research. This man's death is obviously nothing to be made fun of. This is tragic and terrible, and my condolences to the family. However, this is a weird way to monetize something. What's interesting about this is that there's been research done. And I'm not just going to take Reddit's word for it. I'm going to do a little bit of research too. Please read description. Woman is using murdered husband for clout. Obviously, we can see that. You're going to Starbucks or wherever this is to get a coffee. Oh my God, I'm going to make a video. So you put your fucking camera up. Okay, hey, my husband was brutally murdered. That's ridiculous. I pre-read this before making this video. Here's where it gets really interesting. Seeing a comment, husband, blah, blah, blah. After doing some digging, I was able to find the man she was speaking about. His obituary photo is the same photo as she has once previously shared in one of her TikToks. Eager to find her name in the obituary, I began to read until I noticed that she was not mentioned in the obituary at all. In fact, this man, whose name was Robert Mason Brewer, did not have a wife. This woman is already lying. So this is his obituary. God rest his soul. There is no mention of a wife and him being married. So far, what you've read in that little article on Reddit is 100% true. He died in 2010. And this girl is still making videos in 2024. 14 years later, you're still going around talking about your husband was brutally murdered. He wasn't even your husband. If he was married, it would have stated that, he survives a loving wife or blah, blah, her name. That's what it would have said. Let's keep reading. All the photos shared on their TikTok are public in that Facebook page. And again, no engagement photos, blah, blah, blah. I found one photo of them, but they were in a group setting. I saw a post later from his mother mentioning a fiance, but this was years after his death and no one was tagged. No wife mentioned. Let's say, theoretically speaking, they were engaged. There are 0 engagement announcements, 0 photos of both of them together as a couple, 0 mentions of the engagement or fiance in the obituary, etc. She also never posts photos of the both of them together on TikTok. She just posts content about his murder almost every day. Why would she not? Taking pictures with your significant other is the number one thing you do even before an engagement. This is starting to sound fishy. Here's where it gets super interesting about where she's monetizing his death. She also keeps claiming you need to read her first book she's releasing, which is a collection of poems she wrote, as well as some poems Rob wrote himself, according to her. But she also then states that if you want to know all the so-called true details of her husband's murder, you will have to wait for book 3. She is teasing that we need to buy and purchase her books, which will then result in her profiting off of Rob's death. It states that the family has been notified that she's doing this, and they're quote-unquote pissed that she's doing this because they never knew that they were engaged in any way, let alone married. It also states that they've allegedly been dating. They met in February of 2010, and he died in May. So that would mean that no matter what, they were at most dating for 4 months. And 4 months to get this whole Romeo and Juliet style, and where they're getting engaged and then getting married, all in 4 months. Really? That sounds a little fishy to me. But the biggest piece of shit moment that this woman has is that she's trying to monetize it.
Yeah, I just wanted to pay for their order, and also if you can tell them too that today is the anniversary of when my husband was laid to rest after he was.
Man, this is pissing me off. It's one thing to spread awareness that, hey, like, mental health is huge. Just stay with your loved ones, check in on your bros, you know, your sisters, your brothers, and all that stuff. That's one thing. But whenever you're trying to go and you're trying to get attention by recording you going through drive-thrus and handing out letters and pamphlets of whatever the fuck and saying, hey, today's the anniversary of my late husband, never her husband, maybe not even dated. We've never seen a picture of them together unless it's in a group setting. It's nowhere on the internet. It's never been taken. And trying to make this publicity stunt and then selling books. And you gotta stay tuned. There's gonna be a book number 3 about what really happened. I hope nobody buys this woman's books. Let me see. All right, here we go. We're on. This is live, baby. We're on her page right now. My husband and I are suicide attempt survivors. This is his last text to me before he was brutally murdered. My memoir, Juliet Lives, is our love and survival story. My Amazon book, you're a fucking piece of shit. Let's check out our Amazon. Yeah, I'm not including this window. Thank God no one's buying her book. Thank God.
I'd like to pay for the people over there, and this is for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Original poem.
I write poems for the communities, which are mantras tailored to keep people living. I'm a suicide attempt survivor. I'm also a homicide survivor. We're going to be writing
A homicide survivor. Yo, this is a crazy lady. This woman is nuts. She went from, my husband was brutally murdered, we're both suicide survivors, and now she is also a homicide survivor. Next thing you know, she's going to be at the crime scene. That's terrible, man. God, that is god-awful terrible. Truly, if she is out here lying about this, that I hope the family takes legal action. Get her. This happened so long ago that it's 100% possible that they were engaged or at some point or in some way and didn't really tell nobody and they never took pictures with one another ever. I mean, it was 2010 there. Not every phone back then had a camera. It is completely possible. Is it likely? Not really. So come to your own conclusion. If you want to do your own research and kind of check this out, whether he was actually married to her or not, your whole personality online is my husband is dead. What's up? Here's a couple of books for you. Move on. Even if it was, move on. Stop trying to monetize it.